Thank you for joining me. We will be starting shortly. We will be starting in approximately 30 seconds. Hi, and thank you for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon. My name is Wayne from Ascend Custom Designs. I'm a small business owner and a part of the xTool Squad program. What is the xTool Squad, you might ask? Well, the xTool Squad is a global network of experience makers, educators, and small business owners such as myself. We offer one-on-one demos of the xTool products that we own, and the demos are a mix of online and in person. It differs by the host that you select, and I'll show you where to go on the website to find that out a little later. Some hosts will also offer material testing and skill training. Material testing involves testing customer supplied samples under a number of different parameters to get you perfect results. Whereas skill training is essentially a one-on-one masterclass with an xTool squad member. So for example, if you are finding it difficult to use the physical machine that you've purchased, we will guide you through how to use it. If it's software-based help, so you're not sure how to use the software, again, we will help you with that. So it's very much tailored to what you want to get out of it. Right now, xTool is running a promotion whereby you can book a one-on-one demo. So it's not skill training or material testing, it is a product demo. So right now, xTool will allow you to book a product demo of any of their machines absolutely free. So what happens is xTool will pay the host that you select a pre-agreed fee, and you can get the demo. So the host gets paid and you get a demo. So it's a fantastic idea. A lot of people have taken xTool up on that offer. Some people go on to buy, some people do not. So you're not pressured into making a purchase. You can ask a real business owner real questions and see if it's a fit for your business, or maybe it's your business idea. And material testing is something slightly different. So I do get asked, I do material testing, I've done it live, and I get asked constantly if it's so easy, why do we offer it as a service? Why not just buy a machine, do it yourself? And the simple answer is some people want to make sure that the machine will work great with the material that they're looking at. And the best way to do that rather than buy a machine is to pay someone that has a machine to test their material. So it's quite a simple process depending on the material. But it's a very fantastic idea from xTool. So again, that's the material testing. And then if you want to find out more information, I will drop some information in the chat box. So I've already dropped my contact details in there. And what I'll do now is I will drop in how to find a demo room host. So if I was to just switch to Safari just quickly, and if we go along the top to local support, you can see here, free demo. So we go over here, you can see product demo. So absolutely free. So the metal fab, the apparel printer, the P3, the F2 Ultra UV, F2 Ultra, P2S, F1 Ultra, F1, F2, S1, M1 Ultra, the M2 also. So I've done a lot of demos for the M2. So all of xTool's product lineup that they sell, so all the products that they sell, you can get a demo absolutely free. The only cost is for an apparel printer sample. So if you want a sample of the apparel printer, there is a cost for that. And that's simply to cover the postage and the host time that has done that. In terms of booking a demo, it's as simple as selecting if you want online or in person. So you might say, I want an online demo. Then you type in an address. So it could be as simple as Wales. And then you get a list of hosts. So Miles, click on Miles. And then it's a case of continue. I'll book a time. So I might say Thursday, and I want a demo at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that is pretty much it. So you select the machine. So I might say P3, enter in your name, email address, phone number, and you are done. You can see up here, continue booking or confirm booking, sorry. So we're nearly at the final stage. Hit that, booking's confirmed. You've paid absolutely nothing. So when the host completes the demo, they will get paid from xTool. And just for transparency, if you do go on to purchase a machine within a set period of time, the host that you booked with will make a small commission. So that's just one of the many ways that you can book a demo. And again, it's the same process if you was booking in person, but the host has to accept in-person demos. With that being said, if I jump over to today's workshop, so it's a Q&A, so it's the M2 Q&A, questions and answers. So I'll just cover the M2 today, and I will be doing the same thing on Thursday at the same time, so at 4 p.m. So any questions for the M2, please do reach out. My contact details are in the chat as well as on screen right now. So if you're watching this after it's aired, please do reach out if you have any questions about the M2 or want to purchase one. So today we'll cover the M2. We'll have a look at the tech specs of the M2, and then we'll have a physical look around. So I have a pre-recorded video that I'll play. And if there's any questions about that video after it's played, I can jump over to the M2 here in the office and explain anything that needs to be explained. We'll cover some brief laser safety, and then we'll jump on into the software, which is how we control and work all of xTool's machines. And then we'll cover some of the features of the M2. So the AI material recognition, the auto mode. So there's an auto mode. AI make, so that's not specifically M2 specific. It's software specific, specific to xTool that is. But it's good to incorporate in here. And then we'll cover keychains, leather, and we'll work on any other material if anyone has any questions. That's the rough idea that we're going to go for today. With that being said, if I jump over to the xTool M2, so this is xTool's latest M series machine. The only thing this doesn't do really, other than the M1 Ultra, is it does not have a blade cutter on it. So it's an upgrade in every way over the M1 Ultra. except the ability to have a blade. It also does not have a riser base, so you're limited to 26 millimeters of height for flat objects. For cylindrical objects, it's a little bit different. So you're able to engrave cylindrical objects up to 10 centimeters or 100 millimeters in diameter with this machine, and I'll actually show you how that works. It's quite a novel and ingenious way to approach it. So this machine doesn't have a riser base, so it has a limited height, but it can engrave cylindrical objects larger than that max height, and that's cylindrical objects only that go in the rotary. In terms of the lasers, it has a 10 watt and 20 watt diode laser modules, and those are interchangeable, so you could easily switch between them, and honestly, I'll show you in person as well, without the video, just how effortless you can switch between the modules. It also has the ability to have an infrared module, and that's a 3 watt infrared module. Right now it's on pre-order. Again, in the UK, it's very, very popular. And then it also has an inkjet module, and this is full color. So the CMYK, and that stands for the cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is for black. And then this is also a fully enclosed class 1 laser. So what that means is this machine will not operate with the lid up. It will only operate with that lid, that orange lid you can see on the screen, fully down. And that lid protects you from the diode laser light. So it's class 1 for that reason. It's fully enclosed laser light. It has an inbuilt fan to extract the fumes. It does come with, I think it's 1.2 meters of hose to vent outside. That is the preferred method to vent it outside. If you don't have access to a window, it's not close by, you can vent this to an air purifier or an AP2. And again, some of the features, it features auto detection in terms of material and has a max speed of 600 millimeters a second. This comes pre-assembled and is ready to use when you do a brief calibration. And in terms of the max workspace, the maximum workspace is 42.6 centimeters by 32 centimeters, and that is when you use the 10 watt and 20 watt diode lasers, you get that maximum space. If you use the infrared module, you will get a reduced area slightly, and that is because the infrared module is bulkier. If you do use the inkjet module, that is where you get the least usable area. And again, that's because it is not only bulky, it also has to take off the cap that keeps the ink from drying up. So I'll show you all this when we jump into the physical look around of the machine. If you want to find out more information about that machine, the xTool M2, I will drop the information in the comments now. So again, if you want to find out more information, you can click on that link. That will take you to the UK xTool website where you can find out more information about the xTool M2. With that being said, we will jump on to the physical tour of the actual laser. So I'll play a brief video. And again, if anyone has any questions, I am checking comments. So please do reach out via the comments and I will get back to you. This is a physical look of the xTool M2. On the front, you have an LED indicator along with a button. When you send the job, this indicator will change and you simply press this button to start it. In terms of turning it on and off, there is a power button on the back, and this is the actual hose pipe that comes with the machine. So it's approximately 1.2 meters. I have this venting outside. You can either vent it to the air purifier or the AP2. If you do buy the air purifier, you will need the adapter. So when you select the air purifier, do select the version for the M2. It's the same machine. It just comes with an adapter, and the adapter looks something similar to this, and it simply allows you to connect the 8 centimeter hose to the 7 centimeter back of the air purifier. In terms of the camera that we talked about, on the lid, if you follow this white line up, This is the 5 megapixel camera. If I close this lid as I'm talking, you might hear it beep. If I do it again, what it's doing is it's taking a picture of the bed every time you close the lid. If anyone knows about cameras in machines, this is very handy. You have to press the button manually usually to update the picture. This is a nice automatic way of taking an update of the bed. The 2 megapixel camera is located next to where the modules lie. So this here is where the 2 megapixel close-up camera comes into play. So if I leave this lid open, right now I have the print module installed. If I show you just how easy that is to change, you simply hold it and pull on this USB-C cable that is in the side, and it just pulls off. On the back, you have these 2 metal prongs. They fit nicely in here, and the magnets pull it directly into place. So if I switch between that and the 10-watt laser diode module, and again, you have this USB-C connectivity on the back, simply one hand snaps in, and I can just hold it and snap it in. It's literally that simple. So switching between the modules is very effortless. It does come with 4 of these magnets. So instead of the honeycomb bed, you just have this bed here. That's to reduce the footprint of the machine as well as the cost. So you can use these little devices here, this little magnet, to switch and turn and hold material. You can raise material off the bed. Actually quite genius. I will show you these close up on the desk camera. What I'll do now is I will switch over to the iPhone and I'll show you a close-up view of the actual bed as well as the camera that's located in it. This is a close-up using the iPhone. So again, this is what I talked about, the magnets that come with it. So again, I'll show you this under the desk camera so you can have a better look. It's very good for gripping material. You can twist and turn it, snap it into place. One of the things I will note is in the corner here, when you fit this, this is specifically for the print module, and that is because the print module has a cover on the side or the bottom. I don't know how well you can see that, but the laser will lock into that and pull it up, so it pulls it off. This cover here on the bottom stops the ink from drying up. This is a close-up of the connectivity, and I'll just do this with one hand. So again, to switch modules, you simply take out the USB-C cable. And again, I'm doing this with one hand, and you just pull it off. In terms of what the back looks like, you got them 2 metal prongs, and the 2 metal prongs fit nicely into the back there. And I don't know if you can hear it, it just literally snaps into place. And again, I'm doing this one-handed. You just put this USB-C cable into here, and there you go. It's much easier with 2 hands. So that's on now. And if I just show you underneath, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. I can't focus it, unfortunately, but that's where the 2 megapixel close-up camera is. So if I just hover over it, you can see it just here. There's the camera sign, and on the actual lid is that 5 megapixel camera. If you should hopefully hear a beep. There we go, and it's done. So it's took a picture. This is the magnets that come with the xTool M2. So you get 4 of these. This is the underside. That is what it looks like from the side. And that is what it looks like when you pull it out. So these simply pull out, and you can twist and snap them. And again, if I show you from this angle, they pull out and twist and snap, and they just pull down. So these are very good for gripping material. I've gripped wood and I'm able to raise it off the bed. So when you're cutting, you want it raised up slightly so air can get underneath it, so you get a smoother finish, a smoother cut with minimal charring. This is actually a novel way of being able to do that without using a honeycomb. If anyone has any questions about that, please do let me know. I hope that was helpful. If anyone has any questions, please do let me know. So if I show you my physical machine now, so just show you something that I think might be worth mentioning. I've switched over to my camera here in the office. So it's a very normal phenomena to, let me move this, I had the rotary out, there we go. It's a very normal thing to mark the bed. So if I just zoom in a little bit more, maybe you can see that, maybe not with the light. There we go. That's my bed. So when I was cutting out these, so as you can see, the arm, and you can see it just here. See if I maybe do that, you might be able to see it a little bit better. But you can see there's a cutout, and this is when this cut out. I was doing this live. So it's very normal to mark your bed. You can buy a replacement bed if needed, but this is normal. This is not going to affect the outcome of engraving or cutting, for example. You can, if you want, buy an external bed, something to protect it, something that's laser safe. So this is just something I've had from a previous machine. So you can place it underneath it. You can, in a pinch, use tinfoil. Ideally, you don't want to use something reflective like this, where possible. So I just thought I'd mention that, and it's, like I said, it's very, very normal to mark your bed. If I was to take out the honeycomb of my S1, for example, you don't really see the base plate, but it's pretty banged up. So I figured I'd mention that. Now, if we jump over, I'll just cover some brief laser safety. So in terms of laser safety, never leave the machine unattended. So it's pretty dangerous to do so. The laser is capable of creating a flame, and you just don't want to leave the machine working. It's not like a printer in your house where you can print, go make yourself a coffee or a cup of tea, come back, and it's done. So please don't leave the machine unattended. You can pause it. I have paused it when the occasion has arisen where sometimes you need to leave urgently. You do have that option, so please do pause it. In this case, with the M2, it doesn't have an emergency stop like some machines, in which case you can just use the lid as effectively an emergency stop. If you raise that lid, it will stop the machine. So there's two ways to stop the machine, either through the software or physically just open that lid just a little bit. And then in terms of results, please place your laser engraver or engraver. So this applies to any laser engraver really. Flat, stable surface. So if you want to get optimum results, please put it on a flat, stable surface. So it needs to be flat, because when you focus the laser, that will give you ideal results. If it's at a slant, it just won't end well. And in terms of a stable surface, if you put it on a cart that rocks around, for example, the material could move, and again, you won't get ideal results. You'll get something that's blurry. So if you have any issues like that, and you do have it on a surface that is less than ideal, that is probably the culprit. Please don't modify the machine. So again, this is a class 1 laser. It's made the way it is for safety reasons. So please don't modify the machine. And then ventilation. So you can vent this out the window. Like I said, it does come with some hose that you can do so. It has an inbuilt fan, so there's no need to buy an external fan if you don't want to. You can by the IF2 outline fan or inline fan, and to kind of boost the airflow, but it's not needed. I've not had any issue with smoke buildup, and I'm just using the stock fan for this machine. If you can't vent it outside, there's a couple of options. You have the small air purifier. Just make sure to get the one for the M2. It will come with an adapter that will allow you to use the hose that comes with your machine. So the M2 hose pipe is slightly larger in diameter and won't fit without the adapter on the standard air purifier. But if you buy the correct one, you can get the adapter absolutely free. So if you've already purchased an air purifier for, say, the F1 or F2, if you reach out to xTool, they will send you this adapter for free if you've purchased an M2. So do bear that in mind. In terms of materials we shouldn't engrave, there's always things you need to consider. So I always know my material. I won't engrave anything I'm not 100% sure of. It's very dangerous to engrave certain types of material. So PVC, for example, which is contained in a lot of vinyl, so which is why I do not cut vinyl at all. You can get laser safe vinyl. So I'm not talking about laser safe vinyl. I'm just talking about typical vinyl that you'll find at Hobbycraft, for example. All that, excuse me, all that vinyl contains PVC, and PVC is very, very, very dangerous. I can't really emphasize it enough to engrave, to cut. It will damage your lungs and it will damage your machine. So the gas that it creates is corrosive to the machines. So it's a double whammy, and honestly, it's not worth it. If you need to cut vinyl, get a vinyl cutter. I know someone that purchased the M1 Ultra specifically because they needed a laser, but they still needed to be able to cut vinyl. So if you're moving from a quick-cut machine, for example, from a vinyl cutter, and you still need that ability, and you don't want to replace all your stock with laser safe vinyl, the M1 Ultra has a blade. So it has a physical blade, and that is safe to cut vinyl, and that's the best way to do it. And then in terms of safety glasses, it doesn't really apply for the M2 because the M2 is fully enclosed. The laser light's never exposed. So it's a very safe laser to have in your home and be around your children, for example. They can't accidentally open the lid and injure themselves. If they open the lid, it will cut the machine off, so it will stop. However, you can get other machines where you can open the lid and run the laser, like I was doing today here in the office when I was doing tumblers with my F2 Ultra UV, in which case you have a pair of safety glasses. And these are xTool's safety glasses, and they cover me in terms of protection from very specific wavelengths of light. So it's listed actually on the glasses. So they're not normal safety glasses that you would wear to protect your eyes from physical harm. So your eyes can get physically damaged, but it's from the light, from spectrums of light, and these glasses will filter out that light and keep your eyes safe. So please do bear that in mind. Now, if we jump over to xTool Creative Studio, so right now we're on version 1.7.3. Very soon, I can guarantee it, they will update it, the 01. So that if you're not sure what the 01 is, please do check out xTool's website. I might just show it just to drop in a plug. It's xTool's UV printer. So it's not a laser, it's an actual printer, and it can print on pretty much anything. Very, very cheap compared to the competition, and has a ton of features, an absolute ton of features. So it's a very good price point. It comes in 3 variations, and you'll be using the same software. So I don't have the 01 yet. I have it on pre-order. I think the last day for pre-orders today or tomorrow to get it at the cheapest price. But I know for a fact that I won't be using any additional software. There'll be very little I need to learn. There'll be some new features, but in terms of the way the software is laid out, honestly, xTool Studio, it's just like when you buy an iPhone, when you buy a new iPhone, they're the same. A lot of the features are the same, so the learning curve has dropped. So xTool's done an amazing job with their software. It's come a long way in a very short amount of time. and we will see an update for this very, very soon. So if I jump over to that, so right now I had a project open. So this is a leather patch. This might actually look good. I wanted to show you the leather patch. So what we'll do is we will start from the beginning. So if I was to close out of this, and I will close out of the F1. I'll leave this one open just for comparison. So this is your home page. So it's got all your recently used projects on here. So, and this is machine specific. So you can have xTool Studio installed on multiple machines. And this recently used to be different. So it doesn't sync across multiple devices. And the software is absolutely free. So if I was to just drop a link to the software in the comments. So in the comments, there is a link, and that will take you to the software where you can download that. So we have a few options. The first thing I want to mention is the xTool Academy. So the xTool Academy is a new addition to xTool software, come out I think in January. You just select the machine that you have. So in this case, we'll go on and say the M2. And right out the rip, you have a ton. I shouldn't say a ton, you have 5 videos. So if you're not sure about how to do something, you can click on it. So you could say, do you know what, the software and processing elements, I'm not sure. And it will literally take you through the process of how to do that. Now, one of the first things I recommend people go to is General. So when we go over to General, they got this laser safety training. Can't recommend this enough. This has very real world values. You'll get a certificate at the end of it. This can form a basis of the risk assessment if you do craft fairs, for example, and get asked to do one, which you typically do and should. This can form a part of that. So it has very real world values, and it's amazing information to know, especially if you're a beginner. Fire risk is a big thing, especially if you're operating at home. You might have pets, young ones. It's not worth taking the risk with their lives. So please do watch this video. It's, like I said, very good information, and lasers are very safe to work with when done so properly. So a very good thing to know. And then there's also some other videos that you can check out. So like Paul, for example. Paul Steed has teamed up with xTool and created a short course. How to start and scale your laser business. Is a very great guy. I highly recommend you check out his videos. It is also on Facebook, YouTube, the usual social media channels. So do reach out to him, do follow him. Always got some good advice. And then there's the Atom projects. So this is xTool's way to collaborate and create a community. So if you're new to any of their machines, you can quickly get started by downloading a project. And most of these projects are absolutely free. If you want, you can share a project that you've created, and there will be some benefits. So they've got some credits that they will give you, and those credits are redeemable for AI features and stuff like that. So it does come in handy to be a part of the community. And then finally, there's custom things. So I'll only briefly touch in on this, but this allows you to sell online. There's a free version that's fairly limited, but gets you going. And then there's a paid for version. So basically, this is an easy way to accept online orders. You can set all the parameters. And what it does is it takes the onus off you getting the designs right, doing the drafting, puts it on the end user. When the end user submits a project or a customization request from one of the products that you've listed for sale, you get that as an order. So it will pop up in your orders, and you simply hit the process button, and it will open up on the appropriate machine with the appropriate settings. So in this case, it was the xTool F2 Ultra UV, and it's opened up and it's put it in a very specific location on the machine. So you can, there's granular things you can do with this, and this will just increase your productivity. If you are doing a lot of online sales, but equally spend a lot of time with customer requests, customizing pieces, you can take all of that off yourself and give it to the customer. It's very user friendly. You just need to take the time to set it up on the back end. And once you do that, you will be reaping the rewards going forward. Honestly, it's very much a time saver, very well worth the money if you are getting orders. So again, if you're not getting a lot of orders, you do have a limited free tier, which is 10 items a month. Honestly, this will pay for itself if you take a lot of online orders in time and making sure you get the product right from the get-go. So no misspelling names. If a name is misspelled, that is now on the customer because the customer sent you the design as is. I just thought I'd mention that. Now, if we jump over back to home and we click a new project or this plus button up here, this will open up a new canvas. By default, it will connect to the last laser connected you used. So we've got the F1 here. So if I just switch, and I'll switch to the M2 here. There we go. So it's switched to the M2. I have the lid open. So usually when you switch the machine, it will take a picture. But as I said in the video, the camera, that panoramic camera, is located on the lid. So what we'll do is we will put in a leather patch, and we will see how that goes. So I showed you a leather patch. I just want to show you the AI material recognition to start with. So I know exactly what material this is. This is xTool's material. So this is xTool select material. They have the parameters for this specific material in their material list. But we'll just have a look and see what AI says. I do have my own very specific settings that I like to use for this. And I'll show you the difference between good settings and bad settings. So as you can see on the screen, I just closed that down and it instantly took a picture. So the first thing we want to do is measure thickness of the material, and to do that it's automatic. We just click on aim to measure and we click, the middle of the item is usually the best. And again, the item needs to be flat, so a flat stable surface, and the item does need to be flat. So if the item is, say, a ball, that is something you would do on the rotary device, and I'll briefly show you the rotary device after this. So he's measured it 1.14 millimeters. Second thing we might want to do is do a close-up picture, and I'll do half of it just so you can kind of see the difference between that close-up, and so you can see the vast difference between the close-up picture and that panoramic picture. So if I just take a picture again and just do the whole thing, there we go. So that's the first thing. And then we would select the material. So in this case, I know it's this material here, brown to silver. It will come out with all the parameters. So if I was to have a look, say I do a rectangle and I'll keep it on score, because you have 3 different options: score, engrave, and cut. So you're not able to cut everything, but typically speaking, you can score and engrave. So I'll leave it on score and I'll just click on this processing result image, and you can see kind of how it looks. And it's got the speed and the power. So what I'll do is I will go with the AI settings. So if we click on that material list again and we click on AI material recognition, so it's asking us for some images. I'll just capture with the device from the camera, and you'll see the picture. So there's the picture. I can give it some additional information. I typically don't. This is a very nice feature to have, especially if you're very new to laser engraving. However, I will just have a word of caution. You should realistically know your material. And by that, I mean, for example, a leather wallet. So some leather wallets are tanned, so real leather are tanned in chemicals. You don't want to really be engraving or cutting that type of leather because it can produce, again, dangerous smoke. And then the same can be said for fake leather. So with fake leather, some fake leathers will contain PVC. And again, as we said earlier, PVC is a no-no. So it's just a good idea to know your material. So with that in mind, this is still a very good feature. So if I was to put some wood in there, it identifies it, and the settings are usually pretty good. So if I click on this AI recognition, it will take a few moments, and then it will come up with some suggestions. So sometimes it gives one suggestion, sometimes it could say it could be this, this, or this. So it might give a couple of results. And the material, so in this case, it's give 3 results. So if we have a look, brown synthetic leather patch, brown full grain leather patch, and then this material shows a texture surface typical of felt fabric, so brown felt fabric. So we know in this case it's synthetic leather. So this would be the one more than likely that we would go with. And then it's got the picture here. It's taken off the background. Very nice. Score 40% 120 to engrave, 50% 250. And then there is 1 pass and 100 lines per centimeter. And maybe we'll go with this, but we'll cancel this for the moment. So 50 power to 50 speed. If I just cancel that, it won't apply. It keeps the old settings there. But what we'll do is we'll start a new tab. I'll close out of that. And we'll do the same thing again. But this time I want to show you automatic mode. So I went through things manually. If I was to do auto mode, click start. It's doing everything. It's measuring. There we go. And it's taking a picture. So all those steps that you just see me do manually, I still have to identify the material. But it has done everything automatically. Now, if I was to put in, say, a wooden keychain. So again, this is xTool select material. If I just open this material, and what I'll do is when you order xTool material, it comes with a QR code. So if I just show you this underneath camera, so I've just opened this. This is a blank keychain, and this is one of the QR codes that the material comes with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the bed, which you'll see on the screen. I'm going to take out this leather patch. I'm going to put this in. Material identified. Varnished beechwood. Apply. Honestly, so xTool have done a great job. So if you are a newbie, if this is your first laser and you're looking to get experience, it's very cost effective. Can't really recommend it enough with all these advanced features that you get at such a low price point. So the base model 10 watt M2 comes in at $599. So everything that I'm doing here, you'd be able to do on the $599 model. If you're looking to add printing to it, then there is an additional cost. If you're looking to add the rotary device, there's an additional cost. So what I'll do is I'll drop in a link to xTool's material list. So if you follow that link, that will take you to the UK xTool website for xTool's material. And again, that's what I'm using here in the office for this live demonstration. So if I was to just switch back now to the lever, so I've got some lever back over there still. So I'm going to just take that out. Add the leather back. And again, it will do a similar thing. So I keep the material as that varnished beechwood, which we know is incorrect. So we know that this is the leather material. So what happens is when you have settings applied, it will automatically assume. So when we go to engrave, still assuming we've got that varnished beechwood, and we can select settings here. And all it does is it changes the settings here. So this is what's called a material test. Very simple to do. Very beneficial. I do my own material tests for all the materials I have here in my office. So for example, here's one that I did with simple card paper or cardstock. So these were for name places for the wedding that I had in May, and I was able to get different results. So if I wanted to go like a white color, 3000 speed, 50% power, and it tells you what this was on. So this is the xTool F2. And then if I want it a bit darker, I can go 200 speed at 30% power. And as you can see here, it's burnt through. So when you do a material test, please be careful. That's probably critical point where you could create a flame because you're doing testing and you're trying to find out the correct settings. So it's a good idea to literally hover over while it does the material test, especially high power and low speeds. That's a recipe for a fire. But I highly recommend you do material tests on all your materials. Honestly, you will get the best results. So in this case, we have the lever. We can change these settings ourselves. So although they're predetermined when we click specifically for wood, we can change these. So even though it's set to wood, if you was to change the speed here to something, say 35. In fact, if I was to change the speed to what it is here, so 35 and 200, you can see the difference. So if I show you a laser engraving that I did, and you might say it's great, in fact, I'll show you the way that you don't want it to turn out. So here, you can just about see it's burnt. Then here is my dog. You might say, do you know what, that looks great. But believe it or not, that is far from ideal. This lever, when engraved correctly, should show a nice silver color. So you can see that there. In comparison, I added it on there. This again is incorrect, like a goldy color. It's where it's not quite broke through. But if I was to show you that compared to an image that came out the way that it was supposed to, this is the same leather. So you can see the silver undertone here. So when you get the settings correct on this leather, so this is laserable leather, and it specifically has a different tone underneath to get this result. So normal leather won't do this. Typically speaking, normal leather will go like a black color. So that is an example. You might say that was great, but then when you see the perfect settings, you know the difference. So I know, for example, that 35 power and 200 speed with 100 lines per centimeter is going to give a very ideal engrave. And what we can do is we can actually look for something, or maybe we'll have an SVG. So if I was to drop an SVG, if I was to look in my asset folder, and just see what assets I have. So if we was to do copy, so I'm going to change this now to 35 power and 200 speed, and we'll go to 120 lines per centimeter. So I'll just delete that, and I'll show you another way that we can make sure we get this where we want it. So the good thing about using an SVG is we can ungroup it. So the file that I just dropped on is an SVG. If I drop on another file, this is a PNG, believe it or not. I cannot unlock this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move around the wasp. If I just group that and I actually change that color to red maybe, so we can know there's a difference. I'm just going to make this bigger. There we go. So SVGs, you have way more control over this. PNG, you can engrave it. It's completely different. You can see the settings here, bitmap mode. So when you see this bitmap mode, you know you're using would help if I shared the correct screen. So this is the dog that I've dropped on. I was able to ungroup it. So you can see here, it's got group, ungroup, and I was able to move that around and make it bigger. This is the same image, and you don't have the option. So when I click on this, there's no bitmap mode. When I click on this, it asks specifically for bitmap mode Jarvis. So again, SVGs are your friend. If you're coming from a Final Cutter background, you'll know what SVGs are. So you're halfway there. If you've got experience with SVGs, honestly, you're halfway there. You don't specifically have to use SVGs. They're just, again, very beneficial. So I'll select all of them, and with 35 speed, 35 power, 200 speed. And now I say I might want to frame it. So when I click frame, if I was to switch back over, and I want to maybe zoom in a little bit more, I'm going to open the lid, and hopefully you'll be able to see the blue light that's shining the material. I don't know how well you can see that. If I zoom in again, it's very, very low. So you can see that just in the corner. You can see it just in the corner here, the blue light, and you'll see it move around. So the reason why it's a very low level blue light is because it uses the actual diode light, and it's for safety reasons. Now, there is another option for framing. So there is another option. So if I was to switch back over, software view, if I click framing complete, so it'll move back. Now, if I go over to framing the dot, 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 you've got this virtual red crosshair. So on other lasers, you might have seen a red crosshair that pops out. So like the S1 does this, for example, and it's very nice when I do framing to see it. It's even better when it's a Galvo laser because it does it in real time and I don't have to do anything. But we won't go there. Now this virtual red crosshair. So we'll do that. And if I hit frame, this is going to give me the virtual red crosshair of where it's going to start. It's that simple. Like, this is a feature that a lot of people don't know you can do. So again, virtual framing. And what I'll do is I'll drop this image just down a little bit. Framing complete. And we'll do that. Now if we hit the process, it might take 5 minutes. We'll just have enough time, and that's it. Sent to it, and it's telling you on the screen, press the button. So I'll press this button and it will start engraving. So you might also notice on the screen it has this enable monitoring. So if I click enable monitoring, I get a real view of what's happening inside the machine. So if I just have a look over here, yeah, so I can see what's going on. So this is a very nice feature, and this is something that the higher end models have. So these are features that the higher end models have, and xTool has just lowered the barrier to entry for new users. So this xTool M2 honestly is a very budget friendly machine, but not just budget means junk. Budget means in this case packed with features that are very well tuned for people that are new to laser engraving. And while this is engraving away, I just would like to show you the way that the M2 is able to engrave tumblers. So I'm just going to demonstrate this with the inkjet module. But if it was something round that was wood, for example, maybe you can print to it. I've never tried printing to a cylindrical object, so I don't know if it's possible. But if this was the laser head, this mounts and it changes the orientation. So I'll show you this briefly. When this finishes, we'll just have enough time. But the laser head will actually attach to this. This will attach, and it's changed the orientation now. Instead of being down this way, it's shooting out this way. So it changes the horizontal and vertical around. And it's a very novel idea, and the way they've done it is without a riser bed, taking up additional cost and space on your work surface. So it's a fantastic idea from xTool. It shows their engineering minds to do things that are different. So with xTool, you'll find that they're very different from the competition. xTool won't just copy a feature to have it. xTool will only do something if they believe they can add value or do it a new way, do something revolutionary. So in this way, the RA3 Lite it's kind of changed the game, because I don't know of another manufacturer that allows you to change the orientation of your laser like that. And that's what you get when you get an xTool. You get something that is continually improving the software. For example, the machine, you might not be able to improve it other than add new types of laser. So in this case, I could upgrade the M2 by adding the infrared module. But the software all plays into it, and the software, xTool have hit the nail on the head with the software. So we're about halfway through. 1 more minute, give or take. So, and this time remaining, it's very, very accurate. So the only time that I find that the time remaining isn't spot on is usually with the rotary device. So with the rotary device, usually it's finished a few seconds before it says. So if I disable this monitoring, I get this playback. If I minimize it, I can go on and work on a different project. I can go, do you know what? I've got an order to do with a different machine. You can see here, it's busy. I can switch and go, do you know what? I'll switch to my F2 Ultra. Now I'm on my F2 Ultra. I can run a job off on my F2 Ultra while this job is working. So you're not stuck with one machine per laser. You can install this software on multiple machines. I have it on several machines here in the office. If you do an in-person demo, for example, you'll use this machine. I'll give customers a quick tutorial and I'll let them play. And the machines are just over there. So it's very, very handy that you can have it on multiple machines. And again, this software is absolutely free. It only works on xTool's lasers, but it's absolutely free. And xTool have everything tied up. So materials, if you buy materials for them, you'll get perfect settings from the get-go. So if I switch to my desk camera, there we go. And again, you can see the night and day difference. Although that's nice, it does sparkle a little bit. It's dull. It is gold, but it just doesn't pop. This pops. And these are stickers, so you can undo this and stick it. They've got a sticky back, so these would be good for caps, customizing baseball caps. Now, if I was to just show you how to switch the laser's orientation for use with the rotary device. So I showed you in the video, you just simply unplug that and you can just pull it off. And I'm doing this with one hand. So with my other hand, if I simply just attach this, and now that's it. I attach this back up, so this will bend this way. That's it. And for those that want to know the difference between the RA3 and the RA3 Lite, so the RA3 is compatible with this machine, but you need the kit that allows you to use it. So the RA3 in itself, which I have here in the office, is not compatible with this machine without the M2 kit. So the M2 kit will give you a left and a right, or depending on which orientation, that they're both the same, depends on which orientation. One says right, one says left. So the left one goes there, right one goes here. And what happens is the rotary device will fit in the machine. So in this case, this is an actual RA3. And it will fit in there. So it would drop into place pretty much here. This will fit along these grooves along here. And there's a little cutter actually that I didn't notice till I used the RA3 here. That allows you to put the wire in without it getting stuck in the lid. And then what will happen is this will move along and it will engrave the device here. So the biggest difference is the RA3 typically does more than 10 centimeters. But in this case, the max limit is 10 centimeters or 100 millimeters. And that information can be found on xTool's website. So if I just cover that, and then we will go. So if we jump over to Safari, if I jump over to the RA3, so you can see here there is different versions. I'll just hide my face. RA3 Lite for the M2, so it's the same cost, or I should say it's the same cost. It's a cheaper cost than the RA3 for the P3 or the F series. So if I scroll down to the bottom, so you'll see all the different specs, comparisons of the RA3 and the RA3 Lite. So compatibility, xTool M2 only, P series, F2, F Ultra series. Max engraving diameter, 100, 130 mil. So in terms of smart modeling preview, mag swap design, full wrap engravings, all good. But can't do batch processing. Rotary mode, auto recognition, nope, inner engrave, so no inner engraves. And then here is the differences broken out. And then if we click on this, I already own an i3. Can I use it with the xTool M2? Yes, to use that, you need the M2 adapter kit, which is what I just showed you. Plus, it's got a laser cover. If I just go back over here, it does have a laser cover, which will attach to the machine like so. So it's the M2 adapter kit, and that's pretty much it. But if anyone has any questions, please do let me know. I'm back online at 4 p.m. on Thursday. So Thursday the 16th at 4 p.m. I'll be back online. If you've got a question, it can't wait till then, please do reach out to me. My contact details are in the chat as well as on screen again. Thank you for your time, and I will see you again in a couple of days.